8 of South Africa's top motorsport stars clashed head-on recently in the third round of the Firestone Master Driver Series. With 32 competitors fighting for 8 places in the grand final, it was going to be action all the way. Let's meet the 8 drivers who fought it out in identical Toyota Corollas fitted with them stones. Cape Town medical technician Steve Wyndham is a race and rally star and makes his 3rd Master Driver appearance.
Hopefully it'll be 3rd time lucky this time round. The first year I did very well. I finished run up to Serge, but last year, as you know, how it goes, you know, the autotest and whatever, there's a lot of tension and pressure on you, and I made a couple of slips. But this year I'm making no mistakes, and Serge better watch out.
Johan Coetzee is a hot rod star turned race driver and has twice won the Westbank Modified Saloon national title.
I haven't prepared at all for it because I'm too busy on my modified car. I'm concentrating on the Westbank Championships this year, so there was no time for me to look at anything by practicing or having a look what the other guys are doing. So I'll just take it as it comes. I think the rally stage will be the difficult part for me because I've never been on dirt before.
Deon Joubert is another Cape Townian and one of the young lions of South African motorsport who's equally at home in saloon cars or single-seaters.
The Master Driver is a bit tricky, you know, it's so short and quick. Any little mistake you make can drop you right back, right out of the whole scene. I remember last year Steve Wyndham almost made a mistake that cost him the place in the final. So really the series, you know, you could either win or come last so easily.
Race and rally superstar Serge Damseaux will be aiming for his 3rd Firestone Master Driver Series title in a row.
It's going to be a task this year, I reckon. I mean, to try and do it a 3rd time, I like to do it. I like to try and keep the challenge. But I'm sure there's a lot of other people also like to win. But I definitely think this year is going to be a real tough go. The auto test is definitely the most important because, I mean, you just knock one of the bowlers in 10 seconds and you're out of it.
Pretoria engineer Neil Brink has won top honours in standard saloon car racing and makes his Master Driver Series debut.
This is the first time I'll be doing the Master Drivers, so obviously it is important to one's racing career, but I think what I'll be trying to do is just go out and play it safe and try and make it to the final. I reckon I know Zwartkop as well as any of them, so we'll give them a good go.
Middelburg car dealer Koos Roos has for many years been among the top echelon of South African rally drivers.
I've been 3rd twice now, and every year it seems that on the track is where I go wrong. I don't do a lot of track racing at the moment, not at all. And the guys that do the track racing are the guys to watch for, and this year I'm there to see if I can get to the final. The auto test is definitely the most difficult one in the sense that, you know, if you hit a bollard, it's so easy to put a wheel wrong in the auto test. You know, it's not a thing that you do every day, and it's so easy to just, you know, go over the wrong line or, you know, not stop a stride or go in too quick or reverse back too quick or touch a bollard and you pick up a penalty, and that's the thing that puts out a lot of guys.
Deon Joubert is a former fighter pilot who has raced a wide variety of saloon and sports cars since the early 70s.
I feel it's good because it brings out the true personality of each driver. The tension and the pressure is very high, more so than in normal Group N racing. This year I've drawn myself into round 3 with Serge Damseaux, Steve Wyndham and Deon Joubert, and it's going to be a very, very close one.
Springbok cricketer Clive Rice has always had a passion for motor racing and brings to motorsport the same aggression he displays on the cricket field.
I haven't really been able to prepare myself other than the races on the track because of the cricket season starting now. We've got a lot of cricket practice. No, I haven't done any preparation really. The pressures are dramatic, I can tell you. I know that I'm going to be extremely nervous because I'm going into something that's a little bit of the unknown, and cricket, I know what I'm trying to do, so I'm not so nervous there. Master Drivers, I'm very nervous.
Don't miss highlights from the 3rd round of the Firestone Master Driver Series on Top Sport tomorrow night. You don't want to miss the action. The third round of the Firestone Master Driver Series recently saw 8 more of South Africa's top motorsport stars fighting for places in the grand final. The series sees 32 household names up against each other in identical Toyota Corollas fitted with them stones in a rally special stage, auto skills test and a track race. The 8 stars were Steve Wyndham, Serge Damseaux, Johan Coetzee, Leon Mare, Koos Roos, Clive Rice, Deon Joubert and Neil Brink. The first section of the event was the rally special stage at the Acacia Stadium near Pretoria. Drivers drew lots for cars and were given last-minute instructions by the organisers. While final course preparations were underway, the competitors were driven over the 5.4 kilometre route before being allowed a practice run. Former fighter pilot Leon Mare has been racing a wide variety of sports and saloon cars since the early 70s. Mare and navigator Adrian Burford, a scribe for the National Motoring magazine who was along to add ballast as navigator, were methodical in their preparation for the practice run.
5.
Official Rex Boreham, with a loudhailer, and clerk of the course Des Andrew Gray sent off Mare and Burford on a run that started off impressively. Mare has emerged as one of the quickest standard saloon car drivers around. But worried expressions from officials back at the start point were an indication that all was not well with the young man who also has Springbok colours in clay pigeon shooting. A bent Toyota Corolla gave them cause for concern.
We went through the water splash flat and it was going well up to the right-hander wasn't too bad. The left-hander ran a bit wide and hit the bank. But it's a very soft earth bank, it wasn't a problem. And then we accelerated up and we were in second gear, full revs in second gear. Went round the left-hander and then there was a right-hander, like an S. And when I went round the left-hander, the car just went straight.
With practice over and Mare allowed to compete in the timed runs in a spare car, it was down to the real thing. Established rally driver Koos Roos set off on his mission against the clock. The rally cam gives a great view of a rally driver at work, although the smooth Acacia track was hardly the sort of surface to which Roos has become accustomed. Roos is also more used to rear-wheel drive than the front-wheel drive Toyota Corollas, but it was not long before he was in what could be termed as more traditional rally country. Once again, the in-car camera picks up the action. That's hardly the way Mommy would drive the kids to school, but for rally drivers it's all in a day's work. The Firestone Master Driver Series is about all-round skills, and one is to marvel at the control that can be exercised over a 4-wheel projectile travelling at speed. Competitors in the Master Driver Series all make use of identical Toyota Corolla models fitted with Firestone tyres available over the counter. Drivers draw lots for cars, and to keep matters equal, new tyres are fitted to the vehicles after every practice or competitive run. Koos Roos has for many years competed in national championship rallies, with Kyalami boss Dave McGregor doing the navigating. For those who fidget with a variety of gadgets in the modern automobile while on the way to work, the rally cam again gives an indication of just how busy it can get in the cockpit of a competition car driven with a little flair. In this type of competition, there's no time to listen to the tape deck, but Roos was always in command of matters with the car perfectly balanced and under control. For rally drivers, car control, braking and gear changing techniques are second nature. Once again, the rally cam shows how Roos, a Middelburg car dealer, was totally in command of the situation. Other competitors and interested onlookers had the stopwatches out as Roos powered his way back into the stadium. A smooth and incident-free run saw Roos record the third fastest time in the rally section to get himself off to a good start in a competition that still had plenty of action to offer. One of the star turns of the Firestone Master Driver Series since its inception 3 years ago has been versatile Cape driver Serge Damseaux.
2, 1, go!
Damseaux won both the previous Master Driver competitions and this year was bidding for his third successive triumph in a series he has virtually made his own. Damseaux is equally at home on the track or on the dirt, and in recent seasons has been the mainstay of Toyota South Africa's magnificent record in national championship rallying. Along with regular navigator Vito Bonafide, the unassuming Damseaux last year dominated the South African Rally Championship. The pair romped home to the South African title, with Damseaux also a major factor in Toyota's efforts in standard saloon car racing. Damseaux and Bonafide also competed in the Scottish International Rally earlier this year, and the Somerset West garage owner has carved a niche for himself in South African motorsport history. In national rally events, Damseaux normally campaigns a high-tech four-wheel drive Toyota Conquest. On the track, Damseaux is restricted to front-wheel drive, but he had little difficulty in adapting to the different techniques required to go quickly and smoothly on dirt. To drive fast on dirt surfaces needs skill, concentration and a superb confidence in one's own ability. As with most sports, the champions combine all three qualities while making it look so easy. Damseaux's mastery of rally driving was evident in the results of the rally section. He posted a time 5 seconds quicker than Steve Wyndham, with Koos Roos sharing third place with Leon Joubert, who made a great recovery from his earlier misfortune. The second section of the Master Driver Series consists of an auto skills test over a predetermined gymkhana-like course, with drivers again competing against the clock.
There we go. Johan, Clive, Deon.
What do you mean that's on your right?
No, it's on your left.
The best thing to remember is that the pylon, if you start reversing, it has to be on your left, and when you go in, it has to be on your left again.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the easiest way.
What do you mean?
This one's not on the left.
No, you start in reverse.
That one's on
from here. Start in reverse.
Drivers draw lots for start positions and closely study the course layout for a test which many fundies believe is where the Master Driver Series is more often than not won and lost. After his good showing in the rally section, Koos Roos was hoping for a good performance in the auto skills test run in the parking lot at the Vonderpark shopping centre in Pretoria. The layout for the auto test differs from round to round, and drivers cannot compare notes with competitors who have taken part in previous competitions. The auto test requires aggressive yet deft car control, with a clock the constant enemy. Drivers are also penalized 10 seconds for a series of possible infringements. It all adds to the pressure, and a single penalty can relegate a driver to the also-rans. The unfortunate Roos set the fastest time in the practice session and equalled the quickest time in the competition proper. A 40-second penalty then saw him drop back into last place to seriously dent his hopes of clinching one of the 2 places up for grabs in the final.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Johan Coetzee is a former hot rod champion turned track racer who has twice won the South African Championship for modified saloons. An all-action style has made Coetzee the favourite with crowds throughout the country, and he quickly managed to get the Toyota to lift a rear wheel off the road. Drivers like Coetzee are past masters at making cars do tricks to make the average motorist green with envy. The sort of antics Coetzee and the other master driver contestants perform are not recommended during the weekly Saturday shopping sortie at the local supermarket. Apart from running up a hefty tyre bill, handbrake turns along with 180-degree turns and the like are apt to see all the groceries strewn all over the interior of the car. In a desperately close finish, Coetzee was one of 4 drivers who tied for second place on the auto test.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Cape Town medical technician Steve Wyndham was competing in his 3rd Firestone Master Driver Series. In his previous appearances, Wyndham has on both occasions made it through to the final. After finishing second to Serge Damseaux in the rally stage, Wyndham was keen to come up with a good time that would cement his claims for a 3rd successive final. With his previous Master Driver experience, Wyndham was widely tipped as one of the men to beat. The Cape Townian is also a member of the Toyota Standard Saloon Car Racing Squad and a highly competent rally driver. With this sort of versatility, Wyndham had the credentials to do well, but found himself one of the 4 drivers sharing second place in the auto test. The Firestone Master Driver Series brings together top personalities from various branches of motorsport. Motorcycle racers compete alongside car track racing stars and rally exponents in a competition that is highly competitive but never loses its fun element. Wyndham desperately wanted to have another shot at taking the overall title and was all concentration and never picked up a penalty. For all that, he had to be content with a share of second place along with Serge Damseaux and car racers Johan Coetzee and Brink.
5, 4, 3, 2.
The surprise package of the auto test side of the competition turned out to be Deon Joubert. The young Cape Townian comes from a motorsport family and is one of the young lions currently making names for themselves in South African motorsport. Joubert romped away with the South African Formula 4 Championship in 1989 and this year has been campaigning with success in the Formula GTI single-seater category. Like so many of the up-and-coming young South African drivers at the moment, Joubert is versatile and is equally at home in single-seaters and saloon cars. The young Cape Townian gave a polished display in the auto test to win by a second from the Damseaux, Wyndham, Coetzee and Brink quartet who shared second place. This set up an interesting situation in the final 12-lap race around the Zwartkop circuit, with 4 drivers in line to grab the 2 places available in the final.
Yes.
Each qualifying round of the Master Driver Series is run over 2 days and is completed with a racing section. The Zwartkop circuit near Pretoria was the venue for the 3rd round, with Leon Mare taking pole position ahead of Steve Wyndham, Serge Damseaux and Brink after the practice session.
Here we go again.
There goes.
The combined points after the rally stage and auto test had produced an interesting situation, with at least 5 competitors still in with a chance of grabbing the 2 available spots in the final. For Leon Mare and Neil Brink, victory was imperative, while Steve Wyndham and Deon Joubert needed to finish in the top 4 to make safe their places in the final. The race cam fitted to Mare's car provided for a close-up of the action behind the early race leader as the cars streamed away on their first lap. The Zwartkop circuit has a variety of fast sweeps and slow corners, with a fast downhill section to the driving sweep a test of nerve for the drivers. Once again, the race cam puts you in the driving seat. With Mare out front, a tremendous battle developed between Neil Brink, Serge Damseaux and Steve Wyndham. Behind them, Deon Joubert and Johan Coetzee were also involved in a good scrap, with Joubert desperate to try and work his way into the top 4. As one has come to expect in South African saloon car racing, there was plenty of door handle and bumper contact. There was also a little off-roading, but Mare had a clear track in front of him and had to win if he wanted to snatch a place in the final. The corners arrived at a rapid rate of knots for Mare, with the standard Toyota Corollas and Firestone steel belt tyres stretched to the very limit. Behind Mare, second-placed Brink was still holding off Damseaux and Wyndham. With the notorious driving sweep looming up ahead, those behind Mare were getting ready to make a last-ditch effort. Damseaux and Brink were leaning on each other, with Brink holding the inside line for the tricky left-hander at the top of the hill. At the flag, Mare led from Brink, Damseaux and Wyndham. It meant that Damseaux was through to his third final, and he was joined by Wyndham, whose 4th spot in the race saw him edge out Mare by less than half a point.
Tough round this one, but I think the final's going to even be a lot tougher.
People got through very competitive, and I think we're going to have a good scratch at the end of the year.